Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Bears on Tap, a podcast about the Chicago Bears presented to you by On Tap Sportsnet. I'm your host, Brandon Suarez. You can follow me on Twitter at Bdon300, and today I'm joined by my co-host, Joey Ricotta at The Riot 326, and I'm also joined by Quinten at Buttkiss Stats, one of our writers and one of our betting contributors as well. I guess before we get started, let's get the listeners to know who Quinten is. So, Quinten, if you could just give a little background on yourself before we get rolling.
Yeah, absolutely. So I write for On Tap Sportsnet, mostly about the Bears and general NFL. I'm a giant fucking nerd. I love numbers. If you've ever seen a chart about the Bears on Twitter, I probably either liked it, tried to steal something from it, or made it. And yeah, that's really it. I'm a accountant by trade or by education. I work in banking, and I just sit in front of computers and make spreadsheets all day.
Numbers turn my brain into a pretzel. Joey, how are you today, my friend?
I'm doing good. I'm probably right there with you. I do my own set of numbers, but not quite like what Quinten does. That's like above and beyond my pay grade. But
holy shit,
I am good, man, and I'm feeling like we're on a little mini roll here. So we'll get into that. But
it's winning streak season, bro. We got a chance to go on a winning streak. You got a chance to win 2 in a row, and an inferior opponent. You said Quinten is the best. Got to get our Alop comments in to start the stream, but
get the Alop Suckfest out of the way.
Yeah, the Alop Suckfest real quick. But as we kind of alluded to on the episode earlier in the week, this is an opponent that's actually in our favor. We've had a very tough schedule this year. We've played a lot of playoff teams. We've played a lot of quality teams, and this is a team that on paper and by the numbers we match up and are truly better than. Whatever we lack on the field. It probably is in coaching, I guess you would say, but 2 more games, weather the storm, and then we're into the offseason to look for our new head coach. But if you look at this game for what it is, I mean, for them, it's an important game for draft position, correct? Because they have our draft pick, right?
Yeah, they got our pick, and last I saw, they were back-to-back. That might have changed last week with the Bears winning, but it was like 5 and 6. Was right there, both Giants.
I'm putting like voodoo and a curse on that pick. So you just like hope that guy is a bust because you already know like with the cesspool that Bears Twitter and just the Bears fandom is like if that dude ends up being a stud and Justin Fields even has like a hiccup on his way to stardom, people are gonna never let us hear the end of that. But as far as this week goes. Matchup wise, where do you guys think like right out the gates like we're going to succeed and have the upper hand in this week's matchup?
Man, I think it's hard to pick a spot. The Giants are just not good. They're not good in many places. The D line is about the only spot where I think they're pretty dang good. But aside from that, it's hard to see them doing much. I mean, I think our defense should absolutely dominate them.
You're not a Mike Glennon guy, Quinn?
No, not since 2017. I retired that name back then. I think the Bears defense is just going to dominate this game. And that's more of a sentiment to the Giants offense than the Bears defense, I think.
We're going to get a lot of Roquan Saquon meeting in the middle. That's going to be fun to watch. But, yeah, like between Jake Fromm and Mike Glennon, because at one point whoever starts is going to get benched because they're just not going to have it on Sunday. And you'll see they both played last week.
Both are going to play this week, he said.
Yeah, that's what I thought, yeah.
Yeah, so – And before we started the stream, you guys brought up a very intriguing and good point. Justin Fields, who was a limited participant today in practice, if he does get to play and it's Jake Fromm, you guys all remember who was the starting quarterback at Georgia that ultimately led for Justin Fields to transfer, Jake Fromm. And, I mean, Jake Fromm has had bad shit happen on the field. He's had bad shit happen off the field and everything damn near in between. He is not a good football player. He's honestly just filling a roster spot. Like I highly doubt he will be a New York Giant next year.
No.
Yeah.
I remember the first time that I heard of Jake Fromm at Georgia. It's like this highly recruited quarterback. I was like, okay, this guy's got to be pretty good, right? And watching a Georgia game, just being like, okay, maybe he just had a bad game, or maybe he's not. It'll come out later on. And it was just like all season, it kept going, and I was waiting and waiting to see why this guy was considered a highly recruited guy, or why he was highly recruited. And it was just like, it never showed up on the film to me. And I don't think that's something that gets better in the NFL.
Yeah. I was going to say, I've never seen Jake Fromm, Aaron Murray, and Stetson Bennett in the same spot at the same time, because they're all the exact same fucking quarterback. If you just turn the film on, they are the exact same quarterback, like almost down to a T. I don't know who Georgia will be starting tomorrow in the national championship, but since I'm going to be betting on Michigan and former Chicago Bear Jim Harbaugh, I would hope that it's Stetson Bennett, because that kid is a sack of shit, just like Jake Fromm. But we are not going to talk about the college kids today. We're going to talk about how, this is an opportunity to have like one of those fun games. We haven't had like a blowout game all year. To reference, I would say like the Bucs game when Mitch had like 6 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like we haven't had one of those games, and this is one of those games that we could, if we do our job and do the things that we're supposed to do, should win convincingly and could probably have a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah. So earlier this year, the Cincinnati game felt like it was going that way early on in the season, and then they let him back in.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what I'm looking for in this game, is just
it's like a nice chill
third quarter from that Cincinnati game for 4 quarters.
We just don't do that. Like the Bears just never under Matt Nagy. It's like, no matter what, it's always, even if it's a game that you're supposed to win, you feel good about them winning. During the game, you don't feel good about them winning. It's just like, and you might feel like we got this game in the bag, but it's only like a 10-point game at one point. Like it's never going to be. I don't even see them blowing out the Giants. Like even in this with Mike Glennon and Jake from State Farm or whatever. Like it's just, I just don't see it, even though, because they just don't do that. So if Fields plays, maybe, but like if it's Foles, if it's Dalton, I don't see them pulling out it, because Nagy's going to continue to bang his head.
Hey, don't say anything mean about Nick Foles.
No,
I don't know if you checked the Twitter page this week, but don't say anything mean about Nick Foles.
We're not allowed to anymore, apparently. Yeah, he's the GOAT now after one win. He played great, though, down the stretch. Like that, he did fumble, but we'll forget about that because
our line is a totally different story and something that hopefully will be addressed in the offseason. But for this game, I think, how at the beginning of the season, Ryan Pace was talking about how we're going to put everything on the table. Dude, run trick plays, run the backyard BS, run the Demir Berg, jet pass or the jet sweeps, all that. I want to see the Matt Nagy firework offense that we were promised. Give us the fucking full Waffle House menu this week. I don't care. I want to see 40 points. I want to see honestly, I'm gonna say it. I want to see a defensive touchdown. That's not too far out of the realm of possibilities for this week with Jake Fromm and Mike Glennon. And then two, it's you're gonna obviously have to deal with Saquon Barkley, and they don't have a number one receiver, but they have a lot of good 1Bs, Sterling Shepherds of the world, the Darius Slaytons, and then they have good playmakers, but their team as a whole, like you said, Quinten, is just not good. And I think the line is 6 points. There's no reason why the Bears can't win this game by 14.
Yeah. Who, just thinking through as you're talking about it, they remind me a lot of the Bills in Josh Allen's rookie year, where their defense is stout, Their offense is terrible. They don't have a quarterback because Josh Allen kept getting hurt that year. And it's just like, not that I expect this game to be the 40-10, whatever that game was against those 2018 Bills. But like, as far as their team goes, I feel like they're in a very similar kind of structure and position as that team was. They just got to hope Danny Dimes can become Josh Allen.
I think, honestly, I'm wondering how much longer they're going to stick with Danny Dimes, even though I don't think it's all his fault, obviously. I mean, they have line issues. They have many different issues. So you can't keep receivers healthy, it seems like. When you have that issue and you're not getting much push as far as the line goes, the running game. And then Saquon Barkley, he's been dealing with injuries over the years too. So, I mean, the offense as a whole has had its issues. So it's not all Danny Dimes, but we've seen him not really play up to his level. And I'm wondering, like, how long until they just pull the plug and say, yeah, we're just going to go after the next quarterback? Is it this year? Is it this draft with the Bears having the extra pick? I mean, maybe. I don't know.
This would be the draft for them to do it. And just to clarify, I don't think Danny Dimes is Josh Allen. He doesn't look nearly as good in shorts, and he doesn't have his own website. So those two things.
Danny Dimes, when it comes contract time, his agent's going to be like, look at his record against the spread.
Just an immediate fat contract.
Like, don't look at the actual win-loss. Look at the record against the spread because he played for the shitbox Giants. And I think, too, it's like it's really hard to it shouldn't be hard to explain this to you guys because we're all Bears fans, but it's really hard to gauge what you have in a young quarterback when you don't have the pieces around him. Very rarely will you be able to have like a pick and plug guy that's a rookie, that's a quarterback that can come in with, not the best, not the cream of the crop at every position, average receivers and average tight end and maybe like a good running back because that's kind of what we are, average in the skill positions and good at the running back position. And I think we've seen a lot of good things from the Damiere Byrds, from the Marquise Goodwins, from the Darnell Moonies. But in order for this offense to take that next step and be, what we want them to be with Justin Fields, I want to see them throw money at a receiver that's not under the representation of Brandon Parker, who is a jag-off. And, that's my Allen Robinson minute. And, last two games with A-Rob, if he's not giving us everything, just take him out. Like, don't even waste your time, bro. Thank you for your service. Like, there's no hard feelings. One of the best Bears receivers. If he didn't leave in the manner that he did, could be one of like everyone's favorite receivers, I guess you would say all time. But it is a business at the end of the day, and the money that he's asking for is not where he is in comparison to the other players that are making that money, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Quinten.
Something just it must have gone wrong. Like, this could not have been how either side envisioned this happening.
Mm-mm.
And it's just like, someday we'll find out what all went down with it. But you don't tag a guy like that if you don't expect to sign him.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I'm not here to say who's on the wrong side of it, but it's clear that something changed within the intentions on one side or another at some point halfway into it all.
Yeah, and I think too, like, Allen Robinson is a good receiver, but the way the NFL is trending and the way our offense is trending, especially we don't know where it's going to trend after this year, but they want those like smaller, shiftier receivers. But at the end of the day, I still think you always need to have that that possession guy, that guy who can go up and get the 50-50. So we'll see which way they go in the offseason. But this week, like you said, Quinten, the defensive line, probably the strong suit, if I had to go with another unit, is their secondary. They have pretty good corners and safeties. And they are just like I guess you would say like a gritty bunch. Like whenever I'm like watching Red Zone or like because I'll be the first to admit I'm not sitting here on Sundays as much of a degenerate as I am like tuning into the New York Giants game. 9 times out of 10, like they're going into the half within a possession, usually like in a game that there are 0 touchdowns in. Like it's like 9-6 or like 6-3 or like 3-0. They put together like strong performances defensively in the first half, but I don't know if we talked about it when we started the stream or before. They don't play good enough complementary football to where their defense can sustain that type of pressure and that type of quality for 4 quarters. So I think as the game goes on, we'll be able to pull away. But this could be, with the way our offense is in the first half, this could be a very, very ugly game to watch on Sunday.
Yeah, 3-2.
Yeah, knock on wood. 3-2, yeah. Like that could happen.
Yeah, I mean, and Alap was mentioning the weather too as a potential. I mean, this really could be ugly. I don't know. I mean, he was saying there might be weather this Sunday supposed to be windy with residual lake effect, snow, and from this snowstorm on Saturday. So, yeah, we could be in for a ball. And I'm gonna love every second of it if Mike Glennon or Jake Fromm are going to be fumbling it up or throwing picks to maybe Thomas Graham gets like a pick 6 this week. I mean,
yeah.
Has Jake Fromm ever played in snow?
I don't know.
I'm sure he's hunted in it.
Yeah.
He's hunted in it.
I'm a fucking bastard.
Dude, but yeah, this is going to be a slop fest. I think, the Bears could obviously have some real success on offense. Yeah. We'll just see, like you mentioned about A-Rob. I don't want to see somebody out there that doesn't give a shit right now.
Yeah. Because this is good. This is good time to evaluate the guys that haven't been playing those marquee minutes all year long.
There's no reason Daz Newsome shouldn't be getting as many snaps as he can this game.
Exactly. Yeah.
Not even because I think he's a second coming or great, but just you need to know what you got for next year.
Yeah,
you need to evaluate and assess it.
As much as I love Monty too, we don't need to feed Monty 25, 30 times. Give some of those carries to Herbert. If Fields isn't 110%, like it's fine. We'll be fine because the last thing you need is a big injury in this game when we're not playing for anything and the off season is 10 days away.
Yeah.
Bingo. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, why pound the rock with Monty? I've always been an advocate of giving him the ball more and more than they have, at least, like throughout Nagy's entire tenure. And even this season. But I mean, like this point of the season, what's the point? Like, you just don't want him to get hurt. A lot of these guys. I mean, I want to see what you brought up a good player there with Daz Newsome. I want to see what. Maybe you bring back Demir Bird on a short contract because you can't afford many of these guys. I mean, I don't know. There's opportunity there. Jesper Horsted, like I'd like to see him get involved.
Is Fetty going to be starting again? Because that's just like that's about as bad as it gets to not have Borum out. Like, I mean, it just he gets on a 1-year deal. He's not good. Get Borum out there.
He has to play.
No sense.
Borum has to play. I didn't get that last week. I didn't get Thomas Graham not starting.
Yeah.
I mean, he played a lot. Graham played a lot.
Yeah.
Borum, there's no reason if Fetty's played what, like 2 games this entire season? This guy.
Yeah.
Come on. Well, we don't need to see any more from Fetty. And we saw him last.
We get to Sunday and Nagy just runs out of the tunnel. Just like, fuck it, I'm playing today.
I would like Nagy to suit up as an offensive lineman just to get crushed once.
Yeah, just to see what he puts quarterbacks through. I mean, if you look at our quarterbacks throughout the time that Matt Nagy has been our head coach, he gets them obliterated. He has had more hurt quarterbacks than I can count on one hand. Like, Mitch has gotten hurt several times. Nick Foles just gets smoked. Andy Dalton is getting smoked. Like, Fields just get in the preseason getting fucking hosed. I was at that game. That was not great, but I think with that being said, like, get off to a quick start. Get some early points. I don't want to see them like stuck in the mud like they always are, trying to get 0 to 60, and they can only get to like 30 or 40, because this is not a game that, like, I want to be, like you said, sitting there I want to be sitting there in the third quarter like, damn, bro, what did we just watch that first half? Like, that was kind of like how, with the exception of how the defense played, kind of like how we were feeling at the half of the Green Bay game. Like, we saw great things on offense. I want to see, like, the young guys, like you said, like the Daz Newsoms, the Thomas Grahams, like all those guys making those type of plays that will catapult us to a win, because there's a lot of people on this team that are on the older side that are not going to be playing for the Chicago Bears next year. And it is what it is. We're getting the last few games of Akeem Hicks. Yeah, I mean, that one's probably the one that's going to hurt the most. But I don't know if you heard last week. We said it last week on the show. This time right now for the Chicago Bears is the most pivotal time, I think, in the franchise's history to just fucking get it right, man. To just get it right. Yeah. You know, the possibility of a new stadium where you could host, Super Bowls and March Madness, and they're trying to build like these mega facilities like casinos and hotels, huge for revenue, huge just for the attraction. You know what I'm saying? Like, good for the area. But the business side and the football side needs to, like, it's the oldest franchise in the NFL, and we're still sitting here. And I don't think any of us in any of our lives, unless you're somehow magically like 80 years old, Quinten, have seen a good quarterback and a quality front office, and maybe like both at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. We have what we perceive as the quarterback, and we have some of the biggest decisions coming on, I think, what does they call it? Like Black Monday, the day after now, week 18.
Yep.
Our record is not going to.
As a Bears fan,
either.
As a Bears fan, I thought Kyle Orton was a good quarterback.
I mean, if drinking beer,
that's all we've seen.
If drinking beer and hanging out with baddies was the motto, yeah, that's.
Bro, Kyle Orton was the shit. You can never tell me otherwise.
Neck beard was wonderful.
Bro, his jeans too, bro. He used to just wear the coolest jeans.
Me and him would have went to this local bar over here, Fatty McGee's, and just hung out all night and drank.
Just pounded Jack all night.
Jack, Busch Light. Like, we would have just had a great time.
He was the people's quarterback.
But to your point, Bdon, like, the Bears have a hell of a financial opportunity staring them in the face with the combination of lucking into Justin Fields, new stadium, probably looking at like 2023, combining those two and saying we need to be competing for a Super Bowl in 2023, because that is something that can drive life-changing money, even for the McCaskies. They're not cash rich. They're wealthy. They're not cash rich. They're not sitting on piles and piles of cash. And that is something that can make them very cash rich in 1 year.
Yeah.
The combination of that stadium and competing for a Super Bowl. And if they're smart, that is all they care about going into this offseason, getting the higher right to make that happen.
Yeah, because if I don't know what they say the clock is to reset a franchise on like a bad hire, but we already lost the window. The Mitch window has been sealed shut.
Yeah.
We're I don't dare I say we're going to lose Khalil Mack in the offseason, but we have 3 or less seasons left with Khalil Mack. You know what I'm saying? Probably like 1 or 2, if I'm being quite honest. And then they just always shortchange people. I'm worried about the Roquan Smith situation. They let Kyle Fuller walk. They have to obviously get new bodies in, but no fucking draft picks. And the guys that we're playing this week have one of our draft picks, and in exchange for what we would hope is the quarterback of the future. But I just gotta think, like, for a couple different reasons that have nothing to do with numbers, have nothing to do with anything other than Matt Nagy, I want to see him have a little bit of fun because in about 2 weeks, his life is.
Why do you have to say that? Why is it the fun?
Because I want to see him have a little bit of fun, man. He's going to be in the unemployment line getting the Pritzker bucks that, the little unemployment checks. But
can he have fun in the second half, though, too? That's all.
We need him to have fun for all 4 quarters because if Matt Nagy's having fun, then we're definitely having fun. And I think, I want to see some statistical greatness and just, some big plays. I don't want to see us squeeze out like a fucking Cairo Santos, 47-yarder to win this game. We have nothing to lose. Put your meat on the table. Yeah, Nagy had his fun in the first half of the Packers game. No, we want to see a goddamn good football game because we haven't really seen. Can you guys name one game this year that you thought was good?
First half of the Packers game.
First
Vegas.
Game, yeah.
It wasn't good offense, but it was a good game against Vegas.
Yeah, and that was just they were doomed. They went into that week. Yeah. There was all the John Gruden stuff going on.
Yeah,
I want to see some some Tennessee Purdue level shit minus the whole being tied at the end of the game and going to overtime. I just want to see fireworks, bro.
Yeah, put up a good 40 burger in the NFL. If you could put up a 40 burger in the NFL, I mean, look
at. Right. I want to look and see what our totals are for this whole year, and I want to say if they don't score more than that in this game, it's a failure.
Yeah, meat on the table week. It's meat on the table week.
I was just thinking as y'all were saying the weather's going to be rough. I was like, man, I might take that under.
I mean, yeah, because look at these two offenses. And I was looking at the total.
31. It's 37, and we're going to get 31 from the Bears. And here's why.
I'm thinking, even if we get 24, no, don't say that because it's not happening. Even if we get 30, I'm going to say 31 again or whatever you're saying. But even if we get 24 and the Giants get 13, I think it might be over. Look at last week. Everyone thought it was going to be under with Seattle with the snow, and that game went over. So.
See, but that's like when you bet over an Army Navy and you're just bet we got 17 points in 9 minutes. This thing's gonna bet the alt over, bet everything, put the house on it, and then it's just no.
That's a direct fucking dagger to my heart, Bdon. Stop talking like that. I don't want Army Navy game, no more.
I hear you, but all right. So now that we have you on the show and we haven't had you on before. What's the betting angle for this game? Or
we've had Quinten on. Why are you saying that? We've had Quinten on
once or twice. It's not as consistent as it could be. But what would you say, the betting angle, a non-bias? Because if you ask me, I'm just gonna say pound the Bears every week. And I actually got myself back even and up a little bit with the parlay last week that I hit, but. Other than that, it's just me donating to Bet Rivers their profit boost, pounding the money line every
week. So I was actually thinking about this before the show. Matt Nagy beats up on bad teams. Home favorite, Matt Nagy covers well. Covers, I think, a little better than league average even as a home favorite. As home favorites, the Bears have done well under him. And sure, they're only favorites to teams like the Lions and the Giants, but this is the Giants.
This is one of those teams.
So, I mean, I like the Bears to cover here. I didn't actually bet it myself. I might take a game day.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, I will take a game day because I always talk myself into it somehow. But that would be the main betting angle I'm looking at is just taking Bears to cover because that's what they do well under Nagy historically.
Joey's always trying to parlay the over-under with David Montgomery's rushing yards and Nick Foles' dong yards, and it's just bro, just bet the fucking spread and relax.
Dude, Montgomery's receiving yards are legit.
Your 97-leg same-game parlay, Joey.
Fucking money in the bank. But honestly, though, I could see I'm taking them to cover the spread this week too. It's the Glenn dog factor, the Glennon effect. It's being at home. It's Jake Fromm from
betting Fading Mike Glennon is a profitable business. It doesn't last long because he doesn't stick around long, but fading Mike Glennon is a very good thing to do.
Yeah, and look at, I think we're going to get a ton of pressure on him or whoever is that quarterback by the end of the game.
They were last week. Fromm was under pressure on like 50% of his dropbacks, I think, against the Eagles.
The
Eagles are not even a good pass defense.
6 of 17, bro. He's
terrible. That's disgusting.
He had a pick, a fumble, a batted pass, and 2 sacks on his 17 dropbacks. Just awful. And another turnover-worthy play, so another drop pick, I bet it was.
Yeah.
Just remember, everybody listening, Georgia picked him over Justin Fields.
Dude,
but also
that's a Georgia problem. They always pick
technically, so did the Giants.
Yeah, true. That's true.
If you want to think about it that way,
they traded down. They didn't want to take him, so yeah.
So, well, we can just not draft him, trade down, sign Jake Fromm, and then we'll go from there. Sounds like a plan.
3D chess,
and that's why they're the goddamn New York Giants.
Bdon, I want to show this real fast. So Alap is saying about Robert Quinn, and I totally agree with him here. Alap was saying Robert Quinn game finally get the Bears single season sack record. I think he's going to have if we're taking one little prop bet in this game, what were we talking about last week?
I'm going to look it up right now.
Over half a sack, Robert Quinn. It's probably going to be near plus money. It might be a little bit.
Money, yeah.
But
if you can push it up to 1.5, I'd take it.
Also, boys,
over 1.5?
Wisconsin is not a state.
What's the score? Don't talk to me like that.
It's 20-13, and ASU has the ball.
ASU's winning?
No. Wisconsin is still winning, but again, not a state. They should secede.
Yeah, well, they're going to win this game, and they're going to cover the spread, and we'll be all right. But
all right. I'm looking up Robert Quinn. I'm looking up Robert Quinn prop markets right now. Hold on.
It might not be up yet because they usually don't post the defensive props till later. But
I would. So I mean, if this game goes how I think it will,
there's going to be 3+ sacks.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of passing late, and Robert Quinn's gonna get multiple. I think.
Yeah.
If there's
this Giants O line is Nate Solder's older. He's slower. He's not going to be able to stop Quinn.
Yeah. No, I think that, and Joey, you usually, as much as I just made fun of you for the 97 same game parlay, if you can find this 76 legs in that 97 legs that are good and bet those solo, they're usually around even money and you can make good money off those. And Joey usually will just drop those right before kickoff. And then Quinten, I know you plug your picks almost daily with stats too, because Tally Site always gives us the opportunity to track them. Whether I'm going 6-0 in a week or 1-9, you know, the Bdon experience, because that's who I am. But I think I'm going to take the Bears. I like their team total too. Their team total is 21.5, and if we're saying they're probably going to get 24 points, barring they have the first half that could end up happening, we end up at halftime and it's 6-3, and we're yeah, that's probably not going to happen. I do think that this is an empty the clip game, an empty the bucket game. This is a game where we'll see them be more aggressive. They're going to be going for it on fourth downs and stuff. It's not going to be a tuck your sack back and not go for it and fart all over your balls. It's not going to be that type of game. Matt Nagy, in the same breath that we look at when Andy Dalton or Nick Foles plays, these are audition games for him. He still wants to win. The players still want to win. They still have a lot of pride. And although it doesn't affect our except for Allen Robinson, I will say. But
60% of this roster is about to be free agents.
Yeah. So if you think other than Allen Robinson, people aren't going to be trying. Dude, he's going to find this video and just motherfuck me to next week because he finds everything online.
He hunts for stuff. He
hunts people down. Yeah, he hunts people down.
Let's put him in the description.
One thing, too, that I want to see this weekend that we haven't seen maybe since at some point last year, but Can we get some quality snaps from Kindle Vildor? Like, can you just play some good football? Can we see something this Sunday?
So I didn't catch where he was lining up last Sunday. I want to see what the kid can do in the slot.
Straight slot, nothing else.
Yeah, he fits the prototype for a slot corner. He was drafted seeming like he should be a slot corner, and they haven't put him at slot corner. They just threw him out to the Wolves on the outside, said, "Good luck, kid."
Yeah.
And then he failed, and they said, "Okay, go to the bench. We're done with you." Like, put him in the slot. You need someone there. You need someone there next year. You need to figure out if he can do it because he's under contract. He's on a rookie contract. He's going to be here. Just put him in the slot.
Dude, I'm 100% with you, and I'm glad that you just said that because we've been talking about it a lot on the show at different points, different episodes. There's no reason why he's not playing in the slot if you're going to play him at all, and he shouldn't be starting over Thomas Graham on the outside. Like, just let Thomas Graham be out there, and let's see what he has out there, and Kindle Vildor in the slot, in the nickel. I don't understand why they are so against doing that or just letting it ride. Like, we have nothing to lose. Doesn't matter even if we lose this game as much as we don't want to. But just let him see what he can do out there. Like you said, he profiled better. I thought he had a chance to potentially even be an outside cornerback coming out of college. But that was because of, just what he showed on tape. I thought maybe he was a little bit sticky, but he's just much better. He's proven that he can't play on the outside to this point.
Yeah, it's just his size is just too much of an issue there. Like against the Steelers, it was like he was giving up at least 6 inches to Claypool. It was like he needs to be. He doesn't have the hops.
He needs to be in those tight, congested areas where he can be physical and he can use his hands. And
where he knows he always has help over the top. I mean, when you're running as much quarters as the Bears do, your corners are on an island. When you're running as much quarters as the Bears do, your corners are on an island, essentially.
Yeah.
They need no one can get behind them. Yeah, I got a little lost there.
Yeah.
But, like, in the slot, though, you have a safety behind you. It changes how you can play, how aggressive you can be. It's a different game.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think the corners will be busy despite the quarterbacks sucking because, those, like we said, they have quality receivers that do run good routes. And if their quarterbacks can somehow find a way to put the ball on them, they can make stuff happen with yards after the catch.
Yeah.
And are all
Kadarius Toney's still fast.
Yeah, still
no
fast.
Question.
Still gonna get like the jet sweep plays, the bubble screens and bullshit, all that stuff that there's like 3 air yards on the pass, like the screen passes and all the short stuff. They're not going to be trying to throw much into traffic, but if and when they do, Tony is questionable for this weekend. Yeah, too. And as we learned and got burned last week or probably the week before, an injury report that we give you today means nothing. Players will enter the protocols at some point between now and Sunday, or someone will get hurt or something will change. So it's just like there is a point when someone is coming back from an injury, but when people are up in the air, it's just like a lot of this stuff is getting dropped on us like an hour or two before the game. Like, what was it? Tyler Huntley, they got less than 24 hours notice, I think it was, that they were like not going to be able to play. So
Josh Johnson or whatever had to start.
Yeah, the Wikipedia quarterback, bro. Every team in the history of football.
Bro, I mean,
I played a season with him in arena. No, I'm just kidding. Fucking Josh.
Oh man, yeah.
He plays well though in those spot starts. I think he had almost 300 yards last week.
Yeah, he's like the Josh McCown to me. Like Josh McCown would be like that guy just steps in. I know he was actually pretty decent with the Bears for that one season too, but he was always kind of that dude that was like 40 years old. I don't even know how old he was at the time, but like steps in there, just a random one-off game, and like, okay, Josh McCown put up some decent numbers today.
Some
so
and shit.
Yeah. Have you all ever watched the Amazon Prime All or Nothing show?
Yeah.
So it's basically like Hard Knocks, but it was just a full season with the team, like the new Hard Knocks is, and they followed the Eagles in that last year where Josh McCown was with them, And the final episode of Josh McCown's chance in the playoff game is some of the best TV I've ever seen in my life. It just, like, you're going to cry if you watch it. It's incredible.
Dude, yeah, they have quite a few teams. I've watched, like, the Rams one. They show you like, when Fisher gets canned. That was kind of tough. Like, Johnny Hacker's, like, crying in the meeting room and stuff. But, yeah.
I'll have to check that out. I actually haven't seen that.
Under.
So if you don't want to watch the whole show, just go to the last episode. Like, you don't need to watch the whole thing. Just go to the last episode, watch Josh McCown, leave it all out on the field, and then cry. It's beautiful.
Yeah. All right, so prop bet for the end of the season / off season, over under Bears players seen on Instagram or Twitter crying when Matt Nagy is announced fired.
Oh God, I'm gonna say under.
Over under 0.5.
Oh, 0.5.
Under.
David Montgomery will say something. He won't cry though, but it's like a half then.
Who has just been brown nosing that freezer burned forehead motherfucker for the last 3 years? Maybe Ryan Nall. Like, you gave me a chance.
Yeah.
Put me on special teams and I'll be the fourth string running back. I don't care, coach.
Oh my God. All right, so
I know we'll see. I wish, or I shouldn't say that. No, I wish we'd see Nick Foles speak his mind about Nagy after it happened, because that'd be great. But
I want a Nick Foles documentary, like tell all, like what the hell is going on.
I 100% believe Nick Foles is like actually off the field. I think he's just really a good dude, but
very.
So I don't know if he'll actually open up the way that we want him to open up, but I do believe he'll be honest about it once he's done with the Bears. I think he'll say he's going to speak his mind at some point. Yeah.
Well, I think most of these players actually like Nagy the person. I don't think they like what he does as a coach and his logic and his decisions, but I think they do appreciate him as an individual.
The second they get to Soldier on Sunday, they're like, this fucking guy, bro.
Yeah.
as soon as their feet hit the actual grass.
Yeah.
Oh my God. All right, so for this week, Joey, we'll start with you. Who are your key players on offense and defense, and then score prediction?
I mean, it's tough to say because we don't even really know who's at quarterback for the Bears this week. It sounds like
we'll go non-quarterback. We can non-quarterback because we have no idea who's playing.
Man,
Tyler Bray on Sunday.
Tyler Bray, goddamn. I'm gonna go ahead and say, like, I'm gonna give it to a lineman, I guess. First of all, I hope Borum's in there, but I'm gonna go ahead and go with Tevin Jenkins. I think he needs to be big in this game.
Yeah.
And maybe
he has looked pretty bad. Not like all in blocking, but like the disciplinary stuff. And I'm not just talking about the one instance. Like, he's just done some jagbag type stuff.
He's done stupid stuff, made dumb penalties. And I mean, you like to see that he has some fire, like against the Vikings, where he's sticking up for his quarterback and stuff like that. You like to see stuff like that. But at the same time, you got to play better too. So I want to see it. And, now after a few games under his belt, or a couple games under his belt, maybe we see that here. So I think, you got to slow down their offense or their defensive line, their defensive front seven, like Quinten was talking about earlier. And Tevin Jenkins is going to have to be big in this game. So I'm going to go with him on the offensive side of the ball. Defensive side of the ball, they don't have really too many like healthy weapons, but if Kadarius Toney is healthy, I think I would consider that a pretty big weapon. Speed-wise, obviously. I mean, I don't know, man. I want to get away from Robert Quinn, and I also just really want him to get his single season sack number there. So I'm going to go with Robert Quinn, and I'll let you guys go ahead, and I hope you guys say the other guy that I'm thinking about, but I'm going to go with Robert Quinn.
Just know there's some old man yelling at the single cloud in the Chicago sky right now about how Robert Quinn's going to get the record because there is an extra game.
Oh, it's like it's going to be an asterisk thing or something. Like, oh, it's the steroid era or whatever.
Even though he's going to get it in game number 16,
Yeah, right. Yeah. It still doesn't matter to these people. If he gets it in game 16, it 100% counts.
And then
absolutely.
Score prediction.
Score prediction, I will go with I kind of said it earlier. I think 24-13. I know that total's at 37, so do not bet the over until it's at 36.5, and even then, probably just stay the fuck away from it and just bet the Bears spread.
Pound the weird guys on our team touchdowns. Pound the Jesse James. Pound the Jesper Horsted. Pound all the random dudes that are going to be like super plus odds because it's going to get weird out there on Sunday.
It's going to get weird. It's going to get weird, baby. And we're getting a W.
Responsibly. But Quinten, for you, your players of the game or key players to this game, and then your score prediction.
So on offense, I had two that came to mind. It was either Tevin Jenkins or James Daniels in my mind. So you already went over Tevin, so I'm just going to take Daniels. That interior D line is heavy. They're mean. On the kneecap biting power rankings, you got Dan Campbell, and then you got Joe Judge right behind him. He has these guys feisty always. So you got to stop that interior pressure. You got to open up the running lanes against them. Those guys are nasty in the middle for New York, and James Daniels needs to set a tone there. The entire interior line does, but Daniels is just the guy who I trust the most to do it. On defense, man, I'm gonna go with Travis Gibson. I want to see him setting the edge against Saquon. I want to see him making those tackles for loss on him. And I want to see him get after the quarterback. I mean, Quinn is a great answer here. I think Quinn is going to do his thing out there, but I want to see Travis right behind him every time, right next to him, and clean it up when Quinn doesn't get it.
And then for score prediction?
I'm going to go with Bears 19, Giants 11. With a safety somewhere in there.
Some scoregami, a nice, ugly score.
Yeah. It's going to be weird. It's going to be weird.
It does sound like scoregami.
An ugly game between two just terrible football teams.
Yeah.
Oh, don't say anything. No one mentioned a lot. Shut up. So for me, you see the shirt. Notre Dame's got their bowl game this weekend. Our tight end went to the University of Notre Dame, and I think we're going to get 100 yards out of Cole Kmet and a touchdown.
100.
Huncho.
Big day.
Okay, weather permitting. If it's really shitboxy out, we'll lower it to 75. But regardless of who's in at quarterback, they can really set Cole Kmet up nicely for next season these last 2 weeks by just feeding him, touches, because he's done great things this season. As much as D3 safeties on Twitter will have you not feel that he has done, Cole Kmet is a good tight end in this league, and he will continue to get better. And I think he has kind of like his marquee performance of the season this Sunday against the Giants. And then on the defensive side of the ball, I want to see a pick six, and I'm going to call my shot and say it's going to come from Eddie Jackson. I haven't seen one from him all year. It would be electric. It would, in a meaningless time, so you can't really shut all the naysayers up at that time with the interception. But I think there are going to be quite a few sitting ducks out there with Glennon and with Fromm or whoever. You guys had mentioned, they're going to probably play both of them. Weird. Joe Judge will probably be wearing jean shorts on Sunday. and
New Balances.
Like the ones with the little insane clown posse, thing on the side. Those type of jean shorts. The capri cuts, bro. And for my score prediction, like I said, I think we all agreed, the Bears are going to cover this spread. I have the Bears winning this one 24-10. One touchdown, one field goal, I think, is right about what this offense will produce against our defense. I just don't think they have enough going for them in the passing game to not be too predictable. I think they're going to be a very predictable offense on Sunday. And as long as we can bottle up Saquon, which he hasn't been, the Saquon that everyone thought that he would be, I think this is an opportunity for us to have a little bit of fun and Who knows? Maybe they even win by more than 14. What a pleasure that would be. And back to my point earlier, the most points we've scored in a game is 30. So 31 would be the high for this year. Kind of sad, but it is what it is.
Side note, didn't Roquan Smith have 2 picks against Mike Glennon last year? Take one for 6 or almost 6?
I believe it.
I could see that happening again.
Because Glennon was with the Raiders last year, right?
No.
Jags, I think.
Oh, the Jags. It was the Raiders year before.
Yeah. I was going to say, so he wasn't my defensive player because I wanted it to be Robert Quinn. Yeah. I was going to say Thomas Graham, though. I kind of mentioned him earlier. I was going to say maybe he gets a pick 6 here. So I'm going to throw that out there, too. We might be in a pick 6 war here between
Someone's getting it. I think the safest thing to do is, when you wake up on Sunday and after you have your morning coffee and you fill the bowl, just sprinkle $10 on any time defensive touchdown. I think it's
a solid bet.
Yeah. Regardless of what the number is, anything like plus 500 or even lower than plus 500, that is a very solid bet for this Sunday.
And the defensive special teams touchdown, I don't know if they all.
That's what it is. Yeah, it's all defensive special teams. If you get a punter or a kick return, that counts too.
Right. That's exactly.
So
could get you.
So last week they had at least 2 interceptable passes and 2 fumbles. The Giants. And I think 25% of their targets went to running backs, which would bode well for Roquan.
Yeah, and it's playing a team like that, we're going to have our opportunities to make plays on the football. It's just can the Jimmies and Joes beat the Joe Judge X's and O's? And that's my Bdon onomatopoeia of the episode.
I like it.
Boys, do you have any wrap-up thoughts before we send this one off into Bears -6 to the moon?
Quinten?
No, I don't think so. Just go Bears, and if they lose this game, all hope is lost because they have no business losing this game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess I don't really have any wrap-up thoughts either. I just want to see a victory. Alap kind of pointed out in the comments too. Could be Matt Nagy's last home game as Bears head coach. Doesn't mean shit to me because he didn't do anything in this era.
Yeah.
But that is a good point, Alap. And I don't know, man. I just want to see a victory and I want to go to bed. So bear down and yeah.
There will be no Nagy suckfest. He might be the first person to get his own fire Nagy chant at his going away party. But yeah, as much as we hate the guy, super competitive, probably the guy who was, dunking or spiking the ball in girls' faces in middle school, in volleyball and shit, just absolutely wants to win at any, at all means. And I think no matter which way you look at it, the Bears are going to win this game on Sunday. We'll be back. I don't think we have anything going crazy. We'll probably be back Sunday to recap, hopefully, another Bears victory. And then, too, like I said, stay tuned to what these guys are posting. Not as much me because, these guys actually put the time and the numbers and the thought behind it. I'm a dart thrower, and I throw good darts sometimes, but these guys take the time to do a little bit more analytical research behind their picks and a lot of prop bets, too, on Sunday. Opportunity to make some money, opportunity for us to have some fun, and the opportunity, like we said at the top of the episode, Joey, for us to go streaking. I think the gift for the episode, we're going to have to pinata farm Matt Nagy over Will Ferrell in old school if we end up winning this game. So, and then too, it's if you win 2 in a row going into the Vikings, throw us down to beat the Vikings too, because the Vikings are in a similar situation, but worse because they actually thought they were going to get to the playoffs, and they, until last week, had a good chance to do it. So they're in shambles, and ain't no reason why we can't win 3 games to finish this season out. But if you joined us here on the live stream, we really do appreciate you for joining us. If you're just getting to this Saturday or Sunday morning on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, we appreciate you as well. But I'm your host, Brandon Suarez. You can follow me on Twitter at Bdon300. You can follow my co-host, Joey Ricotta, at The Riot326, as well as Quinten at ButtKissStats. Like I said, we'll be back with you guys on Sunday. We are Bears on Tap, and that is also our handle on Twitter. We got nothing else for you guys, and Bdon.
Bear down.
Adios.